Hi guys, I'm Dr. Tara Tobias. I want to welcome you all back to my channel. In today's home exercise tutorial, we are going to talk about how to stand up out of a chair. Now, it's come up a couple different times in the comments, so I'll give a little bit of background on what some of the common problems are that people are having when they're trying to get up out of a chair, and then we're going to go through a progression that is really foolproof, and if you do the steps in the progression, I can almost promise you that if you have adequate strength in your legs, you will be able to stand up out of a chair by doing this progression. But before we dive into that, if you're new to my channel and you haven't yet subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Turn on that notification bell so that you will be notified every time I upload new videos. And now let's go ahead and get started. So what are some of the common problems that I'm hearing in the comments from all of you as to why you can't get up out of a chair? And it seems to be the most common problem is that you get about halfway up and then you fall backwards or you fall back down. So if you fall into that category, there are a few reasons why that could be happening. One is spasticity. Unfortunately, it creates a lot of problems with a lot of different activities. That's why it usually is one of the root causes of a lot of the movements that I talk about here, or the movement problems that I talk about here on this channel. But yeah, spasticity in your ankles, so your ankles point, or spasticity in your quads, meaning your legs involuntarily straighten out. That could cause you to not get up out of a chair on the first attempt and to fall back down in the chair. Another reason why people might fall back down into a chair is due to a fear of falling forward. So either you've fallen forward before, or you just see the ground in front of you, so you fear that possibly happening. So what you do is you tend to keep your bottom back, and that puts your center of gravity behind your feet, which we'll talk more about because that's actually part of the progression when I get to that point. But that would also cause you to fall back into a chair. The other thing is, and gonna get on my little soapbox here again, but those of you that have lift chairs, I absolutely despise lift chairs. If you have a lift chair, the chair goes from this position to this position. So a lot of times what people learn to do is you actually have to almost lean back into the chair. You feel like you need to lean back in the chair to get the right leverage for that seat to push you up when you get up. So you will inevitably learn out of habit to lean backwards when you go to stand up out of a chair, putting your center of gravity behind your feet again, and we'll go over where you actually want your center of gravity further on in this video. And that could cause you, when you use a regular chair, that could also cause you to fall back down into a chair or not get up on the first attempt. The other reason is just weakness. You just don't have adequate strength in the right muscles in your knees, your ankles, and your hips. In your ankles, it would be the muscles on the front of the feet that lift the feet up. Usually if those are weak, you will also fall back down into a chair, and we'll get into that a little bit more as well. So if you have drop foot, that might mean that you'll fall back down into a chair and not get up on the first attempt. And then the other reason is if you have neuropathy. That's another common reason why people cannot get up out of a chair on the first attempt. So as I mentioned, you heard me use that word a couple of times, center of gravity, early on. The key to getting up out of a chair, whether it's because you have weakness in your legs or there's a force pushing you backwards, such as the spasticity that I talked about earlier, there is a huge benefit to getting your weight distribution right. So again, I talked about this a couple of videos ago about how it's all physics. So every movement is really just physics. It's where we position our center of gravity and levers. So the goal with standing up out of a chair, whether it is due to weakness or whether you have a force pushing you backwards, is to get your center of gravity forward, almost on the other side of your feet. So if you think about it this way, your bottom is pretty heavy. It's a pretty heavy part of your body, and your chest would be the other heavy part of your body. And if you can think about a teeter-totter, so your legs or your feet would be kind of the center of that teeter-totter, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to get even weight distribution on both sides of that teeter-totter, or even a little bit more weight on the front side of the teeter-totter or on the front side of your feet to almost tip you in that direction to help you get up out of that chair. So for those of you that are afraid of falling forward, that's a really scary position. So if you can visualize that teeter-totter again, you keep all your weight on one end of the teeter-totter, your bottom end, and so that bottom end just stays stuck in that chair because it's like you took both kids on that teeter-totter and you sat them on one end and didn't put anyone on the other end. That's what's going to happen, is you just aren't going to get your bottom up out of that chair. So how do you fix this? What's the progression? The progression is learning how to redistribute that weight or get more of that body weight on the other side of the teeter-totter and get your bottom as close to the center of that teeter-totter as possible, so that you will be at a mechanical advantage to get your bottom up out of a chair. All right, so the first progression is just sitting, and depending on where you're at or how fearful you are or uncomfortable you are with leaning forward, you're just going to put your hands on a gym ball and just roll the gym ball forward, and then bring it back and then roll it forward. Now your goal is to almost feel like you're getting more of your weight onto the other side of your feet. So almost feel like you have to lean on the ball a little bit in order to keep your balance. That's kind of what you want to feel. All right, now this is just getting you comfortable with the idea of leaning forward for those of you who are a little bit fearful of this. And then the next progression would be to now put another chair in front of you facing you and to rest your hands on the chair. And now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of manipulate where the base or the center of that teeter-totter is. So you want to move your feet back a little bit so that they're a little bit behind your knees. What this will do is, if you have weakness in your ankles, it's going to kind of set you up for success, because if you have weakness in your ankles, you can't get your body in this position, which is really the position you need to be in when you lift your bottom. So you need to bring your weight forward, and if those muscles on the front of your ankles are weak, you're not going to be able to do that. So you really want to make sure that those feet are back, and then you're going to rest your hands on the chair, and you're going to try not to pull up, because that just teaches your brain something totally different. And if you get used to pulling up on things, that's another reason why a lot of people can't get up out of a chair. So if you have a lot of grab bars like in your bathroom, and if you pull up, have a tendency to pull up a lot of times on things, then that's another reason why you might not be able to get up out of a chair. So you want to try and do this by just shifting the weight from your bottom. So you probably feel a lot of pressure on your bottom, because that's where most of your weight is positioned right now, into that chair that you're sitting on. You want to try and shift that weight so that there's more pressure on your hands, and you're going to do what I call like a little mini sit to stand. So then you're just going to try and just lift your bottom just a little bit and then come back down. Now, as you heard me talk about in the motor control video, and I'll put a link for that video in the description below. It's probably going to be in every video that I make from here on out, because it's so critical whenever you're setting up your own home exercise routine. But it is all about repetition. You're retraining your brain a new way to stand up out of a chair. So do this until it's comfortable. So until you feel like you can comfortably shift that weight to your hands and lift your bottom, just stay here and just keep doing this. Now for the next progression, what you're going to do is you're actually going to start standing, and you're going to keep that chair in front of you, and you're going to do what I call like a little mini squat. So you're going to sit your bottom back over the chair behind you, keeping your arms way out in front of you. Again, we're trying to manipulate that teeter-totter a little bit, kind of evenly distribute that weight on both sides of the teeter-totter. And you're going to only go down as low as you can, where you can still maintain control. And then you're going to come back up. And then you just keep doing this, keep getting lower and lower and lower to the surface, always making sure that you're only going as low as you can control, that you're not going low and then falling back in the chair and then using momentum to get yourself back up out of the chair. Only go as low as you can and then back up, and then just keep doing that, keeping those arms stretched out in front of you. And then the final step in this progression is to go down to a regular height chair, reach those arms in front of you. You can keep that chair in front of you, but try not to put your hands on the chair this time. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to get your chest almost over that chair. Again, remember, we're trying to get more of that weight towards the other end of the teeter-totter to get your bottom up. Now, here's where a lot of people go wrong, is because they get a little bit nervous when they're staring at the floor, and they almost see their chest getting closer to the floor when they're lifting their bottom. So they lift their chest up real fast, and then you're going to fall back into the chair as well. So the key is keeping that chest down and getting your bottom up first and then lifting your chest up. So that is a very common problem, is that people just lift their chest up way too fast. You got to keep your chest down. That's why keep that chair in front of you for safety as long as you need to, until you figure out where that fine line is between how long you need to keep that chest down and get that, how high you need to get that bottom up before you lift your chest. And again, you can do this all day long. And that is it. That is how you safely and effectively get up out of a chair, as well as build strength in your legs. So if you're always having someone help you, or you're pulling up on things, you're missing those opportunities to actually strengthen your legs as well. So get these mechanics down, make it easier for yourself to get up out of a chair, get more comfortable standing up out of a chair, and then it almost becomes like a good strengthening exercise for your legs as well. So I hope you all will give that a try, and then comment below, let me know how it goes. I thank you all again for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. I appreciate all of you that engage in the comments. I love trying to answer your questions, so keep the comments coming. Once again, if you're new to my channel and you haven't yet subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I upload new videos. I upload a video every week to help you to enhance your home exercise program. I enjoyed spending time with you all this week. I hope you all have a fabulous week, and I will see you all in the next video.